Hello my friends and welcome to a new video. Today a comparison between the top 3 foldable sim rigs for GT racing. If we look at the prices, well, there is quite a big difference. The Sprint comes in at €229, the Challenge X comes in at €299 and the Challenge DD comes in at a whopping €399. Now these are MSRP prices. There are often promotions being done for the GT Omega, and also if you go to a dealer you can get a bit of a special price on the playseats itself. This ranges for €10 for a reduction on GT Omega to even €50 off the price of one of these seats. So well, the prices, they vary a bit. For this price, you get on the Sprint, you get attachment material for your wheelbase and your pedals, you get some cable binders that come with it, and you get a shifter holder. For the Challenge X, well, there is a shifter holder, there are some cable binders, some cable clips, and well, there is no attachment material for your wheelbase and your pedals. When we look at the Challenge DD, well, there is some cable clips, cable binders with it, and also some attachment material for your wheelbase and your pedals. For configuration, I think that the Challenge X is the least impressive one. You can configure the distance of the pedals. You can tilt the pedals very slightly. For the wheelbase, yeah, you can tilt the wheelbase, and there is a possibility to bring the tray closer, but I noticed that it really depends on what wheelbase that you put on it, if you can bring it closer. For the rest, you have the seat, which can, you can adapt the inclination of the feet to come a bit higher or lower, and that is really it. The configuration of the both the feet and the wheelbase holder can be done on the fly. The pedals are fixed, so you will need some tools to change the inclination of the pedals. The Sprint has very similar configuration possibilities to the Challenge X, but with an added bonus of adjustable wheelbase height. When the Sprint first came out, I was really enthusiastic about that feature. A downside when it comes to configuration is that, apart from the height adjustment of the wheelbase holder, most other settings are fixed and require tools if you want to change them. The Challenge DD offers even a bit more configuration for the pedals, with an adjustable height for the front of the pedal base, and all this configuration can be done on the fly, making it very user-friendly. The overall range of configuration across all 3 rigs ranges from sufficient to very good. My main issue with the configuration of the Playseat Challenge is that the steering wheel height cannot be adjusted. This makes it harder to fine-tune the ideal wheel position. In my preferred GT position, the steering wheel ended up about 2 cm lower than my eye level, which, unless you are driving an F1 car, is far from ideal. Both the Sprint and the Challenge DD performed better here, with at least 5 cm between the steering wheel height and my eyes in a normal GT position. For the Sprint, I did notice that the pedal travel range might not be sufficient for taller drivers. In GT position, I had to move the pedal plates almost to the very end of the rig. The pedal distance on both the Challenge X and the Challenge DD seemed to accommodate taller drivers more comfortably. When it comes to compatibility, the Challenge X offers the fewest options for mounting pedals. While I managed to attach Thrustmaster TLCM pedals, Fanatec CSL Elite V2 pedals and these Logitech G Pro pedals, it certainly will not fit every pedal set. Because there are no cross members over the upright brackets, attaching separate pedals without a plate, or pedals with a plate but without central support, becomes almost impossible. The GT Omega Sprint, on the other hand, supports almost any full pedal set, whether it has a base plate or not. This is mainly thanks to the design of the pedal mount. One slightly odd detail is that the cross members are hollow squared tubes, which means you sometimes need longer mounting bolts than usual. According to Playseat, the Challenge DD should support any pedal set. So far, I have only tested it with the Logitech G Pro pedals. The wheelbase holder plates of the Challenge X and DD are pretty similar, but the Challenge DD did allow me to attach the RS50 with 4 bolts instead of 2 on the Challenge X. The Sprint offers by far the biggest compatibility based on the amount of extrusions available. The stability of the pedal mounts can be described as decent across all 3 cockpits. During normal driving, you don't experience much movement from the pedal plate. There is, however, a noticeable difference during heavy braking. With both the GT Omega Sprint and to a lesser extent the Playseat Challenge X, I was able to lift the front feet of the cockpit off the ground. To be clear, this only happened when really pushing the pedals hard, such as during emergency braking. While the general flex of the pedal plate itself is not particularly frustrating, lifting the entire rig while braking hard can be. During testing, the blue bolts that keep the periscope tubes in place also came loose once. I believe this was simply because I hadn't tightened them enough. While the overhang of the Challenge DD might make it slightly more prone to small movements compared to the other two cockpits, it ultimately proves to be the most rigid solution under heavy braking conditions. When it comes to the wheelbase holder, the Playseat Challenge performs the weakest of the three. The flex is mainly, but not solely, caused by the opening and closing mechanism of the cockpit. I believe that if this mechanism were eliminated, the structure would become much sturdier. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and the wobble of the wheelbase holder can become frustrating for people using a mid-range direct drive base like the Logitech RS50. The GT Omega Sprint, on the other hand, handles the load quite well. Despite its folding mechanism and adjustable wheelbase height, it manages to deal with stronger forces quite decently. It feels very stable and impressive. Until you hit the brakes hard again and lift the front legs of the cockpit. The Challenge DD barely breaks a sweat when paired with the RS50. It handles the load and then some, like a champ. Without any doubt, it is the clear winner when it comes to stability in both the pedal mount and the wheelbase holder. I think the three cockpits are very comfortable to sit in. We have the ActiveFit fabric on the Challenge DD and the Challenge X. The Sprint uses a combination of Alcantara and some gas for the lower back part. So I think it's relatively cold now, but I think when it gets a little bit warmer, that the Alcantara, you might sweat a bit more with this. So the upper back in the GT Omega, it may sweat a bit more. Because of the gas, of course, the lower back, it will stay relatively dry. With the ActiveFit, because it has this special structure, it dissipates the warmth a lot more from your back. The angle of the backrest itself cannot be adjusted on any of the cockpits. Personally, that's not something I struggle with, but one of my regular viewers, Steve, often mentions that adjustable backrest angles would be a welcome improvement for all of these seats. The three seats offer a different amount of space for the seating area and the knees. The Playseat Challenge has the smallest seating surface with 47 cm between the seat support bars and only 44 cm at the inside of the wheelbase holder. The Sprint is a bit roomier, offering 49 cm of space at seat level between the support bars and 55 cm at the inside of the wheelbase holder. The Challenge DD provides 52 cm of seating room between the seat support bars and also a generous 52 cm of space at the inside of the wheelbase holder. While I felt comfortable in all three cockpits, people with a larger frame would probably prefer either the Sprint or the Challenge DD. Getting in and out of all three cockpits is relatively easy. While both the Sprint and the Challenge X have a front opening entry, I personally preferred simply sliding in. First, because it was faster, and second, because with the Sprint I didn't want to mess up the height of the wheelbase holder. In GT position, I also think they all sit at a comfortable height from the ground, unlike some F1 style setups. All three cockpits can be folded away in about a minute or less, which is perfect for a foldable sim rig. Setting them back up and reconfiguring them takes up around a minute and a half or 2 minutes. When it comes to the folded dimensions, the Playseat Challenge remained the most space-efficient solution, measuring 129 cm in height, 60 cm in width and 52 cm in depth. The Challenge DD, and here I need to correct myself from numbers I mentioned in previous videos, thanks to Marcin Legacy for pointing it out, measures 137 cm in height, 65 cm in width and 54 cm in depth, with the Logitech RS50 and Logitech G Pro pedals attached. The Sprint lags a bit behind in foldable space efficiency, measuring 130 cm in height, 75 cm in width with the shifter holder attached and 90 cm in depth. The depth here depends on the pedal configuration. If the pedals are positioned closer, they would fit under the support bar of the seat and reduce the overall depth.
When fully unfolded, the three cockpits have the following footprints. GT Omega Sprint measures 150 cm in length, 105 cm in height and 75 cm in width with the shifter holder attached. The Challenge DD comes in at a respectable 145 cm in length, 113 cm in height and 65 cm in width. The undisputed champion of space efficiency remains the Challenge X, measuring 140 cm in length, 102 cm in height and 60 cm in width.
When we look at the build quality, well, there are two camps here, right? You have the Playseats at one side and the GT Omega at the other side. Playseat, a very nice fabric, very nice finishing. The paint that they used, very smooth, silky smooth even. You can see there are no flaws on it. So it is very, very nice to look at. Stickers also very well done. And then at the other side, you have the GT Omega, which uses a bit, not the premium materials. You can feel it for the fabric that they use here and the gas that they use here. But it's not only that, it's also the general finishing, like the closing mechanism, very, very rough. And the paint itself also, I think it's a bit, very generic paint, a very cheap paint that they used. So there is quite a big difference in build quality visible between these three seats. I would say that my top 4 build quality is Challenge DD, Challenge X and the GT Omega Sprint.
It's not easy to say which one is the best buy here. There's a reason why these are currently the 3 best foldable cockpits on the market. The Challenge X shines in its simplicity but lacks a bit in overall sturdiness. The Sprint is very stable and priced more democratically, but it lacks in build quality and on-the-fly configuration. The Challenge DD is a brilliant piece of engineering with excellent quality, but it comes with a price tag that might be difficult to justify for a foldable cockpit. Personally, I'm sold on the user-friendliness, rigidity and overall flair of the Playseat Challenge DD, but in the end, I think the choice between these foldable cockpits will remain a very subjective one. If you would like to know more about the configuration and other subjects, I can always refer you to the full reviews that I will include in the comment section of this video.
Thank you all for watching. I hope you had something from this video. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more videos. If you have any requests for videos, please let me know in the comments and I will see you all next video. Bye bye.